Joe Hopkins here, and today I'm talking about The Warning. Why am I talking about The Warning? Because I'm an attention whore, and every time I talk about The Warning, you guys love it. And, also, I love The Warning. I really do. All right, so, are they the new Metallica? And, that's not an odd comparison to make. I mean, first of all, The Warning got their first really big attention by covering Metallica, right? Enter Sandman, which their version is really awesome, mostly because they did the song, but they did it differently, and it's hard. That's a hard song to do, to kind of make your own, and they did it. They did it in a totally different way. That's a kind of a tall order, and they did it successfully. And but there are other things, right? I got my twisted tea. It's my birthday. I'm having my birthday drink. So anyway, yeah, The Warning. The Warning is more hard rock into metal. Metallica's straight just metal, right? Straight metal. I do gotta say, 30 years ago, right, when I was coming into my teenage years and in through my teenage years and into my early adulthood, Metallica was my favorite band, period. Loved Metallica. I had every album, went to see them live, whole fucking deal. Loved that band. Right now, I feel the same way about The Warning. They are my favorite band, which sounds weird, okay? They're like young girls. This is young music for young people, and I'm a middle-aged guy. Now that I say it that way, it almost sounds kind of pervy. But I love their music. Absolutely love their music. They're my favorite band in the same way that Metallica was my favorite band back then. And for some of the same reasons. I love the songs. I love the riffs. I'm also watching their career arc go in a similar direction. I'd have to say Queen of the Murder Scene is kind of their master of puppets. Right, which the title track on that album, I get the impression they listened to a lot of Master of Puppets before they recorded that. It has that sound. Although, to be honest with you, their Master of Puppets is probably Dust to Dust. That is such a badass song. That is so ripping. It's kind of one of those songs. It's their early song that really should never leave their live set, because the OG fans just love it so much. You know? And Keep Me Fed should be their Black album, to be honest with you. It's so commercially viable. It's so catchy. It's everything that could do well on commercial radio while still being badass as hell. With the one problem that commercial radio isn't what it used to be. Unfortunately, Keep Me Fed will never be as big as the Black album. In fact, I don't think anybody's going to do anything that really blows up like that anymore, just because everything is the whole music industry is so fractured now. You know what I mean? If an album like that had come out 30 years ago, it should be on top 40 everything. Right? It should be like the Black album was. But as fractured as everything is now with streaming and Spotify, and I'm not putting that stuff down. I think there's a lot of benefit to all the streaming and Spotify and YouTube and all that stuff. But it means you're not going to have like a single album hit the zeitgeist like that anymore. It's just not going to happen anymore. So but Keep Me Fed is a lot like the Black album, where it is their commercially viable album. It's got such badass tunes that are also very catchy, very earworm, very pop sensibility. I mean, you know, The Unforgiven and Enter Sandman and a lot of the stuff on the Black Album really could be top 40 stuff. It's the kind of stuff that Metallica fans will love. Metal fans, we love it. And it can also catch the attention of people that aren't necessarily metal fans. Enter Sandman was the kind of song that if you're into other types of music, you still like this. It's that good. It's that catchy. It grabs your attention. And Keep Me Fed has the same kinds of songs on it. I believe, you know, like Automatic Sun, Hell You Call a Dream, these are songs that could catch the attention of a mass market audience, if there were still such a thing as a mass market audience, which I debate that there is. But I also think, and I personally believe, that The Warning is going to be huge. They are the next, I think they are the next Metallica. They're the next really big metal band. They're the next Slipknot, the next really big thing in hard rock, heavy metal. I kind of say hard rock, heavy metal, because a lot of the stuff they do isn't exactly metal, especially as metal is seen now. Definitely hard rock. Some of the stuff they've done is metal. I gotta say, I hope that they don't pigeonhole themselves too hard into the rock metal, hard rock metal kind of thing, because I really like a lot of the stuff they've done that is more experimental, like they were doing on 21st Century Blood and Queen of the Murder Scene. Songs like Crimson Queen, where it almost reminds me of Heart or Led Zeppelin, that kind of experimental. It fits in hard rock, it fits in heavy metal. You could see a metal band doing it, but it's not metal. And I like that kind of stuff. I'd like to see more of that from them, because they kind of have started to get away from that experimental kind of stuff, you know? I'd like to see them get more into that. Whereas Metallica got more experimental after the Black Album. Load and Reload, and a lot of people complained at the time that those albums were very alternative. They were claiming that Metallica has gone alternative. That was like an insult at the time. But it was them experimenting and trying new things. And I really hope The Warning gets back to that, because they seem to be more experimental on their earlier albums and are getting less so on these. I think part of that is because there seems to be more people involved on their later albums, like Error and Keep Me Fed. You know what I mean? 21st Century Blood and Queen of the Murder Scene were very much just them. In fact, I think Queen of the Murder Scene, I think they produced that themselves, if I'm not mistaken. Entirely them. Right? And now you have other songwriters coming in and other producers, and it's really streamlining it, and that's good. That can be a good thing. Their newer stuff is definitely much more streamlined, much more modern sensibility, that kind of thing. But that doesn't mean they can't experiment. They should still be experimenting with stuff. And I got to be honest with you, Queen of the Murder Scene, which, like I said, I believe they produced that themselves. They seem to be very concerned about getting a very big, heavy sound, and they did. It's the heaviest sounding album of theirs. So I'd like to see them get back to that kind of thing. Just more them, less other people, I guess. Something like that. I like it when bands experiment. I like it when they spread their wings and see what they can do. I like songs like Crimson Queen and Black Holes and, the kind of stuff where they're really kind of stretching and sometimes even bearing their soul, you know? I like that kind of stuff. And I don't know, like I said, Metallica seemed to get more experimental after the Black Album. And I'm hoping that the Warning does that kind of thing as well. But I do think they're going to be the next really big thing in rock, hard rock and metal. And yeah, I'm glad I got to see them in the clubs, playing clubs, right? I finally did on their Keep Me Fed tour. I got to see them twice. Both times they did an American tour leg, U.S. tour leg. I got to see them. And I'm glad, because I think they're going to be playing arenas pretty soon, right? Both times I saw them, so far it was clubs, and they were overbooked. Like, I gotta say, when I saw them in Silver Spring, Maryland, at the Fillmore Silver Spring, it was dangerously overbooked. Like, that, if a fire inspector had walked in that show, he would have shut it down. It was dangerously overbooked. I'm thinking they're gonna at least have to start playing pavilions and amphitheaters pretty soon, because you can't do that. You can't overbook a club like that. Holy shit. Haven't we learned better? There've been a couple clubs that have had problems, you know, people with health issues from being overcrowded. We've had some of them with fires, that kind of things, right? Who was it that had that show that burned the place down? Was that Great White? I think, haven't we learned better? All right, now I get it. They booked a lot of these while the Warning was becoming as big as they are. But I think they're hitting amphitheater levels. I think the next time I see them, they're either going to be playing a pavilion or an arena, because they're headed in that direction. Now, when I saw Metallica, and this was in the 90s, they by then were playing amphitheaters. They were playing pavilions. I saw them at Merriweather Post Pavilion. Now they're playing stadiums. Personally, I don't know if I'd go to see them on a stadium show. I'm not real big on stadium shows. Arenas are okay, especially now that most acts have turned the volume down a little bit. You get less echo. Arenas were problematic back in the day, right? Because I don't know, everybody wanted it louder and louder and louder, and that's hard in an arena. You get a lot of echo. It's hard to get the sound right. I've only seen a couple of bands actually pull it off at that volume and make it not sound like shit in an arena. Kiss did it. Whoever their sound guy was back in the late 90s was awesome, right? I saw him in 96. It sounded great. Most arena shows back then didn't sound very good because it's hard to get it to sound good at that level in an arena. Post-COVID, everybody seems to have turned it down, which I appreciate. For one, I need to save what hearing I have left. All right? Too many years of rocking and rolling, and my ears aren't so good, okay? And that's even from years of playing. My wife and I played folk music, all right? But the stage still got loud. It damages your hearing, right? So I appreciate that they're turning it down a bit. And I also appreciate them turning it down because on arena shows, it used to sound like shit. And now it doesn't. The last the arena shows I've seen in the last 4 or 5 years have all been excellent sounding, but not as loud. And I think that has a lot to do with it. You turn it down, you know what I mean? But pretty soon, the Warning is going to be playing arenas. I almost guarantee it. Within the next 5 years. They're getting big. And part of that, I think, is, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure their father kind of has a lot of say in how things go with that. And they headline, right? Even if it means smaller gigs, they headline. They play, except for festivals, right? They do a lot of festivals, but on the regular tour, they headline. And if they're headlining at the club level, then you're playing the club level. You're not going to open for another band at an arena level. And I think that's really helped them. It's done well because they're seen as a main act at every level they've been at. And I think when they hit amphitheaters and then arenas, you know, they're going to be the headliner. And I can't wait to see them at that level. I'm glad I got to see them at the clubs. I wished I'd been able to see Metallica when they were playing clubs. I was not old enough when they were playing. By the time I was old enough to go see Metallica, they were amphitheaters. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Playing Lollapalooza and festivals and amphitheaters and kind of, you know. I wouldn't at all mind seeing The Warning at a festival. They seem like a great festival act. You know what I mean? But I see their career arc being very similar to Metallica's in a lot of ways. And I do think they're going to be the next big thing. They're really getting a lot of traction. They have the songs, and they got the moxie. I mean, they have the look, they have the presentation, the way they present themselves on stage works so well, and it's going to work as it gets bigger. They look like superstars already. They present like superstars at the club level. This is a band that's going to make it really big. And a lot of it, yeah, it's the songs. They're fucking excellent. Absolutely excellent. I think, like I say, I really like their older stuff. Their newer stuff, I think a lot of the outside influence, the co-songwriters and producers and whatnot, are mostly taking what they were already doing and compressing it, which makes it more commercially viable. I really like the more experimental of what they were doing. I kind of prefer that, but I really like what they're doing now. I think this is going to work. It's the kind of thing that really is attracting the attention of people that have more pop sensibilities, to the point where people might like a lot of pop bands and The Warning. And that is what happened with Metallica in the 90s. A lot of people, they liked this regular, you know, the regular rock that was out at the time, and they liked pop and country and whatever else. And Metallica. Like, Metallica's the one metal band that everybody agreed on. I think The Warning is going to be that metal band that everybody kind of agrees on, you know? Like, I like Chappell Roan and Billie Eilish and The Warning. They're becoming that. It's kind of like what Little John and the East Side Boys and the Yin Yang Twins did for rap or hip hop in the early aughts. Even people that liked country, they like country and Little John. And yeah, I know a lot of people that were like that were like, well, I listen to country, I listen to pop, I listen to rock, and Little John. Little John everybody liked Little John, right? Lil John, whatever it is. And I do. I like him. I like hip hop though. I've loved hip hop since hip hop was a thing. So, but not every hip hop artist, but Lil Jon had it, man. That was some badass shit. Yeah. It was a nice revitalization. After Biggie and Tupac died, like, hip hop went, in my opinion, to a certain degree. And then the whole Atlanta crunk scene came out, and I dug it. Everybody dug it. We all dug it. It was awesome. It was good stuff, right? I think The Warning is going to be that for rock and metal, where it's like, I like this and The Warning. I like that and The Warning. I see that happening. In my opinion, I don't think they're going to get as big as they would have if this were back when, back in the days of CDs and commercial radio. In the days of Spotify and streaming, it's a little bit harder. But they're definitely getting that level of, they're getting as much traction as you can get in this modern music industry. And I like it. I like the fact that they're doing well. It makes me feel better about the music industry, and I think it's because I like them so much. And I think they're really, they're one of the artists that I think should be doing well, that I think is worthy of doing this well. And they're actually doing that well. Most of the other artists that I really like, that are like, man, they should really be kicking ass, most of them aren't doing as well as I think they should be. I think they'd be doing better at a different period in time. You know what I mean? I really appreciate that The Warning, even now, as fractured as the music industry is, as difficult as it is to really consolidate your audience, I like the fact that they're doing this well, because I think they deserve it. I think they're that good. I think their songs are that good. It almost makes me feel better about music that a band that writes songs this good is actually doing this well. Because I've seen so many artists that have such good songs and good music, and they've really got that melodic idea. And they're not doing as well as I think they should. And that's the thing. I think The Warning has that melodic sensibility. You can kind of hum these songs. You can sing along with them. It's a good melody. That's what Metallica had with the Black Album, was songs that you can sing along with, you can hum along with. It's a melody. It actually works. It's not tuneless. And there's nothing wrong with tuneless. Some of that stuff works, but a good melody, it's what made the Beatles big, all right? It's what made Buddy Holly. It's what made so many bands, was having good melodies. And The Warning has that. They have the melodies. All right, so I'm done my 24-ounce Twisted Tea. Oh, my God. Whew. I'm going to set that there. And, yeah, I think they are the new Metallica. I think they're going to be the next big thing. The new Metallica, the new Slipknot, the new AC/DC, the new hard rock and heavy metal band to take it to the masses. And I really hope they do. Here's to hoping the next concert I go to see them is an arena show, right? I think they deserve it. Or at least a good size amphitheater, right? I'm done seeing them in the clubs where they get way overbooked. At least, in the very least, start booking bigger clubs. Okay, I saw them at Ram's Head in Baltimore, and I saw them at the Fillmore in Silver Spring. They need bigger clubs. Book like the Anthem in DC, that size, right? Bigger. You need bigger. If anybody from The Warning or any other people are watching this, you need bigger clubs. They're overbooking you. It's not just dangerous, it's obnoxious. And yeah, the Anthem in DC, that size, might work. Or start booking amphitheaters. My wife bought tickets to see Youngblood in June. If he's having health problems recently, if he's better, we'll be seeing him at the Anthem. I know they already overbooked it. All right, they stopped selling tickets. They sold all the tickets, and then they added 50 more. That means they're 50 more overbooked, and they're probably going to do it 2 or 3 more times. But the Anthem can handle overbooking. It's laid out well. It's a big place, but the clubs the Warning has been playing, they can't handle that level of overbooking anymore. You guys are hitting amphitheater level. Start booking amphitheaters like Merriweather or Jiffy Lube Live, or, you know, amphitheaters. Bigger. You need bigger. You need a bigger fucking venue. Seriously. Something with a lawn. Because too many, it's too packed. You guys are too big. Too big. You're too big to fit. That's a sexual reference. You're too big to fit. Instead of this, it's now like, it's too big. Oh, God. I shouldn't be drinking. Okay. All right. Tell me what you guys think. Is it too big to fit? Is that kind of hot? What's wrong with me? Or is it more like this? Or is it full fist? Oh, God. The Fillmore was full fist, dude. Way too packed. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I love y'all. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.